Hi, my name is Kaveesha, and I'm going to present to you the virtue ethics standpoint of today. I am Paul. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is why the android. And it could be because it's what society has been using to take care of the people, and in this case, the elderly. There is evidence about that when the android gives the Mildred IV bags and even downloads protocols to help her during the fire scene, and even the android has the medical knowledge, the leading medical knowledge as well. And of course, it's sophisticated enough that it can just emulate whoever and make it very convincing to other people. So in the case of Paul, including the eye color and the height was one thing, and it can also just anticipate Mildred's desire and react with the appropriate thing, such as pulling the curtains open for Mildred. The next thing is exercising some degree of continence. They opted for the android. And this may be because of virtues of respect and love. And the android's emulation net is expensive, and it only needs daily maintenance, so that does show some self-restraint. And the next one is making the visiting more optional instead of mandatory. Because it it can be there when uh, they're not actually physically there. It can give options, it can give medical advice to them right then and there. And it can prevent the shift of habitus of Mildred because she always has some replication of them in her immediate view. So the next thing is the android's influence on the family. First one I'm going to talk about is Susan, who has developed anxiety when meeting with Mildred. That makes her more reliant on the android. And the reason why, maybe for the android, is because she was bitter and sullen towards Mildred, and the android talks about that. And just the fact that Susan cries on the android because she can't remember, she can't connect with Mildred. So that lack of connection might be why. And Paul has a deficiency of empathy, so the android makes him feel more secure. And this deficiency could be said through the him saying, "No, Ma, that's Nurse Judy that has been dead for 30 years. She wasn't here today." And it even goes on for Paul sighing as well, right? And it leaves him worry about Mildred. And so the android makes up for this deficiency. And finally, Millie becomes accustomed to the android's presence and believes that it is normal to interact with the android. And so, at the in the middle of the story, you can see that there's already a connection because Millie refers to the android as Mr. Robot, and the robot even gives her knowledge about insects, leaves, and flowers. And so basically, the android is like a teacher to Millie. And by the end, Millie is wants the android to emulate Mildred. So that's just there's a big connection there, right? And so some shift in the habitus for people in society is that people may not even change at all, right? As a result of the android, it's a lot easier for people not to spend time with loved ones because it's always there, and then it can emulate the people very well. And even for Paul himself, he gives it to Mildred because he can't deal with the emotional stress of trying to deal with the dementia that she has. Same thing should be said for friendships can be made in unprecedented ways, and the capacity for intimacy might decrease. So that just goes back to the Millie argument, where you have the android giving her information about insects, flowers, and even the android trying to replicate Mr. Robot in the death scene. And so finally, in the ending, you could try to see that Paul and Susan really didn't change that much, right? They put the android away in the clove. They might not wanted to have changed at all, and maybe that's why they gave the android to Mildred in the first place. And the android, in a sense, is a way to escape from reality because they don't have to physically be there. They don't have to interact with Mildred. and they may be happier, but not necessarily balanced in the sense that they need to take care of Mildred more. Okay, thank you very much for listening.